Yes, my voice is coming, sir.
Your voice is clear now. You can start sharing the
Yeah,
presentation.
sure.
We can wait for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that 13 people are there as if now
Yeah.
they are joining. It is showing to be paused.
Hello. Okay, uh, I guess we will start. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have discussed two of the methods from the ancient structure. One method that is from the China, that is called as a Daogong method, and the another method that we have discussed is of the concept of that is called as the Shin Bashira. Shin Bashira. So Shin Bashira is the central column that is provided in the structure to increase its integrity. अब ये दो केस स्टडीज पे से what we have learned is that we are not supposed to fix up the supports in the rigid way so that the structure should resist the lateral forces. It is not necessary that we should provide the rigid support to increase the lateral resistivity. It can be achieved by allowing the lateral displacement. One important learning. Second, we have learned in present era that the load is transmitted from slab to the columns, slab to the beams to column and to the footing. And if the footing area is more, the dispersion area will be more, and the stability of the structure will be more. And in case of the earthquake, nowadays we provide base isolator to isolate the structure from the base. Over here, we have learned that we are not supposed to provide a big platform underground at underground level, but rather than providing any of the mechanism, why to connect the superstructure with the ground? They have not connected the superstructure with the ground. They have just rested over it, maintaining the center of gravity. That is a big art. That maintaining the center of gravity and the concept of the inertia that moves in the opposite direction with the forces. So, both of these structures, as even we have seen the video, in that we can see that they have provided the columns, and the columns were not connected with the footing at all. However, these columns were floating. We are using the word floating because they are not rigid and the fuse up in the ground. They were floating with the movement of the
क्या था
earthquake.
वो?
Uh,
क्या दे रही?
they were moving with the So they were moving with the movement of the earth, and they allowed the movement of the structure. They have not resisted the movement of the structure, but at the same time, to maintain the integrity of the structure, the provision of the member, which is monolithic, is important. So yes, if you are making the structure nowadays, we provide a shear wall, monolithic shear wall from bottom to top. That is such a too expensive method of providing or increasing the seismic resistivity. The same thing and the same concept they have utilized. Uh, we are utilizing their concept, but they have done it in a very cheap and a very good way with the single material that is called as timber. So they have provided it in the center column that we have even discussed. Third important thing that we should learn from them is that irrespective of the material, if you want to make the structure stable, you just require the knowledge of how to disperse the forces. Okay. So in this structure also, the important thing that is again a part of study is that they have not gone for the various types of materials. They have not made the joining using the materials of the uh, other compositions. They have gone through that. If they are making a timber structures, they have gone for the connectivity. Even the joints are made up of the timbers only. No such nails are used. They have used the pegs for insertion. So the learning that when we try to insert some other material in combination of any material, after some time there will be leakage in bonding. So they have not gone for that. They have utilized a single material for construction, not even nails. Okay, moving ahead. Now we will discuss the another method again that is having that is originated and is existing and is being practiced in India only. You can see this wonderful architectural structure over there in the picture that is called as Kat Kuni. Kat Kuni. Again, the same thing. It is having the origin from the Sanskrit word Kat and the Kuni. Now, some of the things that we should notice in this structure is that some of the prominent things that come to the mind is that this structure is having floors and the balconies at the top, extended part that I want to say. These structures are having multiple horizontal bands these structures are quite tall in the hilly region. Himachal Pradesh, as you all know, this is one of the region in the India which is along the periphery of the Himalayan ranges. That means which is near the boundary of the tectonic plate and which is subjected to most earthquake forces. In such specific region, the structures with high dimensions, the tall dimensions are provided. It is again, we are taught that in the high or severe seismic zone, the height of the structure should be resisted. They have not gone for resisting the height of structure. Again, this is the learning. You are not supposed to compulsory resist the height of structure. Height of the structure can be anything if you can manage the dispersion of the forces, maintaining the stability. Some of the resemblance from this figure you can see, you can make it is like an inverted pendulum. Okay. Now moving ahead in the depth, look at this seismological activeness of the Himachal Pradesh. As you all know that India is based on the Indo-Eurasian plate and the another plate is called as the Austrian plate. Because of the movement of these two plates towards each other, there is the formation of the Himalayan ranges. We have already discussed in the earlier part starting. You can see over here the hazard map, high hazard zone. This high hazard zone, which is shown with the red color, dark maroon color, and Shimla, Kullu, Chamba, Kangra, and all these part are of the same state, that is the Himachal Pradesh. Okay. So when you study this part, you can make out that this type of the traditional, nowadays we use the word traditional structures are made in the high hazard zone. These are made in the high hazard zone and still they are existing. Okay. Moving ahead. Now these are the seismological data of the Himachal Pradesh. This is again to specify you the importance of the structure methodology that they are utilizing. Look at the magnitude. If you can see over there, the magnitude of the earthquake and the frequency of the earthquake. About a month ago, 4.7 magnitude, 4.4 magnitude, 4.3 magnitude. It means that there is so high frequency of the earthquake occurrence in Himachal Pradesh that it becomes very necessary for making the structures to be earthquake resistive. Now, what is special about these houses in the Uttarakhand region or Himachal Pradesh? Now, again, look at the figure. In this figure, you can see. The height of this structure is so high that you can just make out from this opening that the height of the structure is tall enough, and this is not the recent construction. Again, this is a very old structure which is existing over there. This type of structure is called as Kart Kuni, and this is normally provided in hilly region of the Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. What is important, which made this structure earthquake resistive, is the provision of bands. Okay, the provision of bands. And second important thing that they have provided is unbounded infill. Infill हम किसको बोलते हैं? Infill are the things that are filled in mid. जैसे हम लोग बीम्स और कॉलम्स के बीच में हम लोग फ्रेम के बीच में वॉल प्रोवाइड करते हैं, तो वी से that we are having a brick infill wall. Infill. So infill is the layer between some gap. So now if you observe this figure minutely, they have provided multiple horizontal members. An important thing that is to be noticed over here is that these horizontal members are alternatively placed one above the another in opposite directions. Opposite directions, it means in the perpendicular direction. If this member is coming, this beam is resting, the another beam is resting just above it in the another direction. So these are not connected in the same plane. Okay, so alternatively these beams are placed in the horizontal direction, one above the another. These beams are connected with each other by the use of the wooden pugs only, tag what we say, and they have not utilized the iron material or the nails, etc. Now the gap between these wooden beams are filled with the stone masonry. These are filled with the stone masonry. I will not use the word masonry also. These are filled with the stone blocks which are not bounded with each other. मतलब कि उनको किसी भी तरीके से चिपकाया नहीं गया है. They are just chamfered. They are just made clean and they are inserted at particular location. Some of the locations you can see over here, they are filled with the small size of stones. That means that even the voids are filled up with the stones, but without using the mortar. They have not gone for using the mortar. So how it works now? Now, what is katkuni? It is again from the word cast or kat. That means the wood in Sanskrit, and kona means the corner. Kona means corner. So these are the Koti Banal structures, which is around 800 or 750 years old, and these are made up of the wooden beams. These are made up such that the center of gravity is maintained. Wooden beams are connected with each other with the help of pegs, and the structural panel or the sheet walls and the floors in the buildings uh, are the provision which basically regulates the earthquake forces. How? We will discuss it further. Now look at this closed figure. Look at this closed figure. One of the important parameters we will discuss. First, a wooden peg known as kadil helps in keeping the solid wood beams in place. So if these beams are connected with each other, these are connected with the help of pegs, which are called as kadil. The double-skinned walls with the air gap between two panel wooden beams filled with loose small stone pieces insulate the structure. What it means is that the double-skinned walls with the air gap between them is filled with the loose material. So it means that this we are showing the outer periphery of the wall. Similarly, there is another periphery, inner periphery of the wall, and the middle portion is filled with the some material air-filled gap, which will just allow the compression. And even without restriction, it will allow the expansion also. So suppose if earthquake forces are coming, these walls will allow the movement of the members, which will not get transmitted because of the air gap, because of the gap cavity, which will not get transmitted to the other face, and it will adjust within itself. So this is such a simple technique, and this is so brilliantly utilized that when we provide the cavity and when the horizontal forces are coming, this cavity itself will adjust. This cavity itself will adjust the lateral displacement without affecting or transmitting the forces to the other member. They have utilized the stone members for the construction over here for filling the gaps. Now you can see over here the stones are of various sizes and they are just inserted one above the another uh, for filling the gaps. Okay. So we have not seen the utilization of mortar. We have look at the bottom. There is no foundation. There is no ground inserted foundation. Again in this this is the third case study where we have learned foundations are not provided by inserting underground members. Okay, it is resting over the stone base over here. And moving ahead, again, this is some of the examples which shows the working of the katkuni. There is a small video, but I will, since we are having many more things to discuss further, I will not go for that video. But a very small video, I will just show you of some of the existing structures of katkuni. You can see the beauty of these structures, which are earthquake resistive and made up of only two materials, timber and stone, without use of mortar. Nowadays, to bring out the new looks, Many more other things are being inserted for the part of elegance. However, the basic component of the construction is timber and stone. Moving ahead, as I told that we are supposed to discuss many more concepts now, so I will not go for the another video which explains the conceptual details of this type of structure. But seismic resistivity concept, what we have discussed is now it is not fixed with the rigid foundation at the ground underground like creating the stub columns at the foundation. It has it has not gone for the utilization of the mortar for bonding. Rather than the stones are freely placed one above the another. The walls are having internal and the external faces such that the cavity is maintained between them. And the material again which is used over here is only timber and stone. Okay. So the free movement of the lateral forces without the collapse is again the concept in this method for making it earthquake resistive. So these are the learnings that I have already told to you all. Even they have used the same material, timber or wood. They have gone for the infills with the stone. The beams are alternatively placed in the directions. They are not connected at the same plane, but they are alternately placed one above another, and they are joined with the wooden members only. No other members are utilized. Now we will move ahead. This is another case study from the Peru region. Now, this is the World Heritage Center, and as is now there is a that is not at present living region for the people, uh, but a mere just a place of a tourism. Because of some of the seismic activities and unavailability of some of the resources, the people moved from that location quite hundreds of years back. However, the beauty of the structure, the stability of the structure is prominent to be studied over here, and it is still exists. Now, this is a region photograph that it is located at. Voice is coming. Yes, my voice is coming. Can anyone let me know?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So now you can see that this particular region is located at a very high altitude. The detail, if you can observe in the picture, these are made up of only stone. What more we should observe, we will discuss it further. So all these small dots you can see over here is the occurrence of earthquake in this region. Okay, multiple times, several times, hundred or thousands of the times the earthquake occurs in this region, and still that earthquake movement of the ground movement. So this is located at a very high altitude, that is 7,972 feet, and very high seismic zone it is. Now look at this figure. This is taken from there only. What is important to notice over here is that the complete structure is, first point, the complete structure is made up of stone. Okay. Second point, they have some knowledge that which shape maintains its gravitational balance. Okay. If you observe, you can see over here, all these members are trapezoidal in shape. Just go and checking all these members. This is inverted trapezoidal with the upper section is having higher base. The opening is reflecting the inverted trapezoidal such that the bottom is having the greater base as compared to the upper length. So now you look at this part, again you can see the tapered section which resembles and which says that again the trapezoidal is maintained. So like nowadays you can see that a gravity balancing toy is there which balance itself even if the force is applied. So we are comparing nowadays with that toy, but they have taken the concept from the nature. They have viewed the environmental aspects. They have gone through the observations of the nature, and they noticed that the shape of the mountains and the inclination of the mountains needs to be balanced. Now, in how depth these constructions are made, uh, it has been observed by the researcher that the slope of the mountain over which these constructions were made were such that the upper construction again I will repeat, if there is a particular base, on this base of the mountain at the top section the constructions were made. The constructions were not vertical, the constructions were not like this, they were maintained with the plane of the mountains such that the slope were in the same way as it is, as it can be seen and that in that mountainous mountain region. So they have utilized the maximum balancing concept important designing concepts what they included. They included the buttresses steep mountain slopes, terraces. Yeah, slides are visible.
Visible.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So what they have utilized the concept to maintain the symmetry with the slope of mountains, stiffness of the mountains is maintained. The fitting of the various blocks of the stones, one above the earthquake, one above the another, is very precisely arranged, very precisely fixed up. Doors and the windows are trapezoidal and tilted inward from the bottom to top. That means like this. Doors and windows. Okay. So doors or windows are provided tapered and it is more at the bottom and the width is less at the top. Corners are sometimes rounded. Now it shows that they have a quite brilliant knowledge that if we keep the corner uh, rounded in the shape and suppose when there is the movement of the earthquake, because of this action, if there is a fixed corner edge and once it is passed by that margin, it will just topple down. So it should not topple down, it should not overturn. So the corners are rounded in shape, which helps to balance its stability again at its own position. So when the movement of the ground takes place and the sections are round up, it will again help to come back to its own position. Apart from that, they have used the L-shaped box to tie up the corners. L-shaped blocks were used to tie up the corners. That means they have gone for the integrity of the structure. They have gone for maintaining the homogeneity, or we can say the integrity of the structure by inserting uh, the locking system. L-shaped blocks they have utilized. Now, again, this is one of the video which shows that how they have utilized the concept for maintaining the earthquake resistivity. and you can see over here the openings, whatever the things which are placed over here, everything is trapezoidal in shape. Everything is trapezoidal. Even the complete structure of the rooms are trapezoidal in shape. I guess we have time to see this video of 2 minutes. Voice might not be coming. Sir, वीडियो की आवाज नहीं आ रही होगी ना?
नहीं नहीं.
Okay, I will just explain with this.
Yeah.
So you can see these openings, everything is trapezoidal in shape, and up to the top you can see these are precisely kept one above the another without any gap over here. Okay, this is again trapezoid in shape. So you can see the some visible gaps over here. These gaps are sometimes intentionally kept. So if the forces are coming from any of the direction, the movement of this stone will not create impact on the another adjacent stone. So these are the gaps which developed at the time of earthquake in this region, but the structure did not collapse. Okay. So because of the impact of water as well as the earthquake, these voids are created. But important thing to notice over here, these are having a complete integrated system to fix up the members. If you see the system of the block arrangement over here of the stones, the stones are kept alternatively one above the others. Okay. I will just show in the another figure also. So what you can see from that structures, these are the same from the same site only. You can see that these interlocking they have provided in the stones, one of the important part. Second important part that is being learned from this particular case is that again they have not fixed up the various units altogether. Nowadays we learn that if the number of joints are more, the structure is more subjected to the failure, and we should maintain the integrity by fixing up with the mortar. But in the figure you can see these structures are not utilizing mortar for fixing up various small units. They are placed above one another. Intentionally, sometimes gaps are provided. So if there is a movement of earthquake from one side and it is acting on one member, this member, the gap between this member will help to dissipate the force. How? If the member is coming from one side, it is moving to this part and it is not affecting or creating impact on this member. Okay. But if these members are connected with each other and if the forces are coming on this member, it will directly impact this member. So this is how they have simply with the concept and the brilliancy they have provided the earthquake absorption capacity just by intentionally providing some slots or the gaps while maintaining the interlocking of stones. Now we will move ahead. This is another case study from our adjacent country, Nepal. Again, we have heard the name of this country. We keep on like we know all about the information very adjacent country to the India, Nepal. So this is the structure that we are going to study, how they have created it to make it earthquake resistive. Look at the beauty of the structure. This is so brilliantly made that in the hilly region, in the high seismic zone, this structure is standing tall. Look at the height of the people which are sitting over there, and then you can compare that what can be the height of the structure. Again, as if now in this present era we teach that in the high earthquake zone, the height of the structure should not be restrict the height of the structures. That is not being done. By this, I can. This is the temple located in the Nepal, and in this particular temple, what we can make out from is that uh, irrespective of the guidelines that we have learned nowadays, that in the hilly region or the high seismic zone, we should restrict the height of the structure. No, in the high seismic zone and in the hilly region, they have created the multi-storied temple, and that too again, which is made up of timber, just with the brilliancy of the methodology to connect the members by one another. So the important aspects that we will learn over here related to the structure. This member is consisting of the struts. Okay, you can see there are multiple number of struts which are present over here. These structures are consisting of struts. These are again made up of timber. Okay, these are again made up of timber. Again, what we teach today, that timber is subjected to the rupture, timber is subjected to the fracture. Irrespective of that, from the various case studies that we have gone through, again in this case study, they have utilized timber. Now, we should not be stupid to think that in the olden period there were no other material and thus they have gone for the timber. They were thousand times brilliant than us, because their structures are still existing, and that is the greatest fact and the proof that should satisfy our ego that uh, they were quite brilliant than us. So look at the figure. This is consisting of the various struts. This is consisting of the timber bands, brick walls. You can see over here, these are the brick walls. So brick walls are made up of the clay brick walls, okay, and the mud infill. These are the important parameters that we will discuss further. Now look at the geometry of this figure and how the methodology has been adapted for increasing the lateral resistivity. So in this particular figure, you can see the components are shown. This component shows that all the members are connected with each other without inserting any other material. Again, you can see these blocks are created, the joints are created by inserting the wooden pegs, and no other materials like the nails or the strips are utilized. All these members are connected by the timber itself, by the interlocking system. Okay. Now, important thing to notice in this particular temple is that they have made the wall plate. They have created the wall plate that act as a tie beam. Now, what are these wall plates? Look at the figure number A. You can see there is A represents the masonry wall. A represents the masonry wall. B is the inner wall plate. C is the outer wall plate. Okay. And D is the tie piece. D is the tie piece. Now, these are the tie piece. You can see over this, these are the tie piece. So in this particular temple, the two walls are constructed, and the middle portion of the wall is filled with the mud. The middle portion of the wall is filled with the mud, while the inner and the outer faces are made up of clay bricks. Now, what is the importance of this methodology? We will discuss it further. This is the figure of the floor beam. Okay. Now look at this figure. Even though these things seems to be very simple, these are working brilliantly for earthquake resistivity. Now you can see over here, these are the clay bricks provided at one of the face of the wall, either inner or the outer. These are again provided on the outer face, sun-dried bricks. Now they would have, or they can do the construction of the wall like we do nowadays, full brick wall or half brick wall, what we say. मतलब कि पूरी bricks की wall, even they can make it, but they have not made it. What they did is that rather than making the wall completely with the bricks, they have provided a infill portion which is made up of the brick particles and mud. Now, after so much explanation to your mind that it is again acting as an shock absorber, which means that at the time of earthquake, if the forces are coming from any of the lateral direction, and if the movement of this brick wall is taking place, this movement will be adjusted in the mud insertion, in the mud infill, and it will not get transmitted to the other face. So suppose the force which is coming to one face, it's not getting transmitted to the other face, definitely it will reduce the impact. Now on the contrary, this is how our constructions are nowadays. We try to bond these constructions like this. Okay. And if on one face the forces are coming, this structure work as one together and the impact is on the complete members. Looking to these figures, this is the structure and it is filled with the wall, infill materials. If the forces are coming from one faces, it get adjusted to this level, any of the member, any of the stone, and it is not getting transmitted to this face. So this is what we want finally. The stability of the structure can be achieved only when the forces are not transmitted from one part to the another. This is what we are learning. On the conceptually, we say that the stability is achieved when the forces are transmitted from one part to the another, and it is get transmitted to the ground. Now again, look at this particular structure. You can the floor rafter are made up of the timber, which is connected with the wall plates. Okay. Look at this timber strut. Now, if we are not having this vision and if we are not conducting this particular study, just we will think that these are provided with the view of elegance. सुंदरता के लिए बनाया गया है. No, it is not like that. They have made it beautiful. The structural members are made beautiful by doing the work over it. But the basic concept over here is that the load of the roof is connected with the wall plates over here. Okay, these are called as the struts, which connects the timber roofs to the wall. So do it mean that the columns are not provided, or do it mean that over here the beams are not provided? No. The complete structure is made up of beams and the columns. The complete structures are made up of the timber beams and columns, brilliantly connected with same material only by interlocking. Apart from that, the important thing we are learning over here is that the provision of struts. The provision of struts, I'm not talking about the diagonal members between the columns. These are not the diagonal members like the bracings we provide. These are the struts which are provided from the roof to resting on the walls. Resting on the walls. Look at this detailed figure which explains that how it is connected. This is the part of the roof which is connected over here with the purlin, and A is rafter over here. So you can see these are the rafters. Okay. So A is the rafter over here. It is connected with these horizontal members. You can see this. So these multiple provisions of the struts helps to balance the seismic forces from any of the direction. Okay, so this shows the importance of the struts. So what we have learned from over here, particular figure, this is again the same photograph of the same temple that we have discussed. Look, the concept they have solidified, that means the compacted the foundation. Important thing to notice over here, their foundations are not made by the underground procedure that we follow nowadays. You can see that the floor level at the bottom is more and it is gradually reduced at the top. Again, it resembles the shape of the pyramid. There is the sloping roof provided. That is might basically one of the reason is the geographical region, since it is the part of a Kathmandu and that the region is subjected to the snowfall and all. But these are supported with multiple numbers of struts at each level. These struts are resting over here. These beams are there. These beams are transmitting by the arch shape connectivity to the columns, and these columns are resting on the floor with the multiple base. Okay. So finally, what it resembles is a pyramid which maintains the gravity at the time of earthquake and the provision of the single material that is a timber, which is filled with the brick walls. These brick walls are made in such a way that these are working as a shock absorber by filling the mud in between of two wall faces. So they have not gone for the any of the expensive techniques that we are utilizing nowadays. Now moving ahead, not only that, there are various hundreds or the thousands of the structures that we need to pay attention. That does not require attention. On the contrary, I should say that we need to pay the attention to such type of structures. You can see such of the marvelous structure that is shown in the figure. These structures are made in with the proper geometry, with the proper mathematical calculations, such that these are existing since thousands of years when India witnessed so many types of hazards, natural hazards. Okay, so some more case study we will go ahead. Now, as you all know that India is based on the tectonic plate, Indo-Eurasian plate. 54% of the geographical region of the India is subjected or the vulnerable to the earthquake. Now look at these components of the temple. I am discussing this part because further case study is taken from the temple. Okay. So if you want to know about the geometrical concepts, how they have made it, we should know some of the basic components. So you can see over here the various components that are named. The main important portion is over here, and it is the heaviest loaded portion. Now, again, look to the concept that we are learning nowadays. The load should be distributed monolithically. The building should not be constructed at one part because uh, it will be more subjected to the twisting and torsion forces. Yeah, we have discussed that if the load is concentrated at particular section and if it is not concentrated on the other part, there is a possibility of the torsion and the twisting in the structure. And so we always discuss that the structure should be symmetrical, load should not be concentrated. Now just look at this figure. You can make out from this figure that the load is transmitted in this particular section. The load is more concentrated in this section while it is gradually reducing to this particular section. And this is again the structures are existing from thousands of the years. So they have witnessed for the they have gone through the various seismic forces also, earthquakes also, but still they are at their own places. Now we will discuss about one of the temple which is called as the Ramappa temple. More than 100 of the features that are important to be studied over here, but apart from that we will discuss some of the part that is related to earthquake only. Now, what is the technique that we can adopt from this temple is that, see the beauty of the temple, there is a very minute work everywhere, all over. So it is beautifully decorated. But again, keep in mind, it is not the purpose is not the decoration. On the contrary, they have decorated all such members and all these members are having a specific role. Okay, these are the struts that we have seen of the timber in the previous case. Over here, you can see these are made up of, these are the struts uh, which are present in the temple. Look at the base of the column. Look at the joining base of the column. It is so wide that the top section and the bottom section of the column are much more wider as compared to the middle portion. Okay, to the middle portion. Again, the temple is made up of the brittle material. The temple is made up of the brittle material, that is a stone, uh, and not made up of the highly ductile material of the RCC with a high ductile reinforcement and all. This is again another temple, thousand pillars temple in the Warangal. What is special about the temple? Why we are discussing about this? They have made it earthquake resistive. They have made it earthquake resistive by the technique of sandbox. Now, what is this sandbox? What we do is that in the normal construction, we excavate the particular at a particular depth. We do the ramping over there so that we compact the surface, and once the surface is compacted, then we put the layer of concrete, then we do the formwork and make the footing and then the step columns and so on. So the complete structure is rigid in nature what we make, because we have made the foundation, we have fixed up the step columns, we have connected the plinth beams, we have connected the ground beams, everything is rigid in nature. In this temple, this special technique which is utilized over here is that the foundations or the footings are resting on the sandbox. Okay, the foundations, again I will repeat, the foundations or the footings are resting on the sandbox. Now, what is this sandbox? It is a technique in which a pit is made. It is made up for laying the foundation. It is mixed with the sand, lime, and jaggery. Sand, lime, and jaggery. Jaggery and the lime both are acting as a binding material, and some of and a particular fruit which is used for the binding material. Now, basically, the important component in this is sand. So rather than using the sand, they could have gone for the stone also. They could have placed the big stones and over it the construction could have been done. But you can see there they have provided the sand. Now, what is the role of this provision is that at the time of earthquake, when the shear forces are acting, one of the property we know that the waves are transmitted at the time of earthquake, and the secondary waves we say that the shear waves or the secondary waves do not transmit through the water. Why? Because it is not possible to shear. It is not possible to shear the water. We cannot cut the water, and we can see the movement of the water, and thus the forces get dissolved at that particular level, right? So when we provide a sand, and when the forces are coming on the such box which is filled up with the sand, of course there is a binding material. And when we try to provide the sand, what will happen is that when the movement of the ground will take place at the time of earthquake, the adjustment of the forces or the dispersion of the forces will take out at the bottom only, and the overlying foundation will be isolated from the forces to some extent. Okay, so this is the similar concept now we are using in the recent era, in the recent period, that is too expensive and which required high skilled people also, and which is not possible for
घर बेकार है क्या मतलब बस लेन का ही बेकार खुलो
and this is not possible for the common people to adopt. Which method? I am talking about the base isolation method. Okay, so such type of techniques are even though these are available. Yeah, someone's mic is on. Can you please off it?
Shit.
Okay, I have muted you. Okay. So we were discussing that the sandbox are the ancient base isolators, and that is again the very well established fact that these are very successful techniques because these temples are existing till now. So one of the important parameter that we have learned from that is we can provide the footings over a particular methodology in which the forces, if even if developed in the ground in any of the direction, will not impact on the superstructure. Okay. Now, not only this, you can see the geometry of these structures. These are following the pyramidal shape, which is having a broader base and it is gradually reducing at the top. Now, what is important from this temple is that why I am showing this slide is that look at this temple. So what is important? Some of the important parameters. Look at the joint section. It is quite wider than the main section of the columns. So you can make out that while making the construction, if the top and the bottom section of the column are broader, it will help to support more. Second important thing, second important thing to be observed over here is that the importance of interlocking is so much that even if we don't provide a mortar for joining it, even if we don't provide the mortar for joining it, the structure remains at its own position in the best possible way. We will discuss it further. I will just show you. Now, this is the photograph from the Gopuram of one of the temple from the Tamil Nadu. You can see that how the temple is made up of the stones only. Basically, the temples are made up from the stones. But now you can see that how the interlocking is placed over here. Now, do you think that they were lazy enough to insert any shape of the stone and then place another stone? No. In fact, they could have used the similar units like we are using nowadays for the concrete or the bricks. We are using the same units, we are placing one above the another, and to increase the integrity, we use the mortar, right? They have not gone for that. What they did is that intentionally these shapes are made of different sizes and they are fixed in an interlocking position such that the upper stone is connected with this stone and this stone is connected with another stone, and the movement of these stones you can see over here. So the movement of the stones are resisted and they work as an all together with the integrity without use of mortar. Okay. Okay, this is important, without use of mortar. So there are many more such structures that over which we should give attention, and we can redesign the concepts of earthquake what we are learning nowadays. Even after I guess after discussing so many case studies, you all must have realized that keeping the orthodox and one dimensional thinking of the earthquake resistivity that we have learned from the IS codes and some of the research is not necessary that it is to be done in that way only. Of course, if there are the norms of the government, we need to follow them. But at the end, what we can conclude is that it is not necessary that we should always resist the forces by providing the rigid support. It is not necessary to resist the structural forces by providing the rigid support. But sometimes it becomes necessary to allow the forces to act on the structure and move away. And move away means not, I am not talking about the structure to move away. I am talking about the force to get dissolved or absorbed. How it has been developed in all these techniques. We have discussed several techniques. It is being adapted by filling the mud so that the load is not transmitted. It is adapted by intentionally providing the gaps between the stones so that the stones can rearrange themselves. It is provided by the method in which the foundations are not fixed up with the base or the footing or like the ground, and it is kept above the superstructure are not fixed up rigid with the ground, right? So these are, and more important things what we need to understand is that to increase the ductility of material, what we do is that we make a heterogeneous material. We use the concrete, we insert the reinforcement bars. But in these structures, we have learned that when the frames are made, when the frames are created, they have not utilized even nails. They have gone for the wooden pegs only, interlocking systems, wooden pegs. The only reason is that when the materials are changed for the construction, and when we try to make a combination of the material by mixing them, what happens is that each material is having a distinct property. Each material is having their different durability rate, perishable period, or the durability rate. So, of course, there will be the presence of void that we normally see everywhere. When we provide the AC sheets for the roofing, and when we connect it with the nut and the bolts, you can see the gap in that after some period. Why? Because of the corrosion of the particular nuts and the bolts, uh, any of the members started eroding and the gaps are created. The moment the moment connectivity becomes loose, the load transmission fails. But on the contrary, over here we can see the Dao technique. The lateral forces are allowed to move to some permissible limit, of course, but the forces are allowed to move in any of the direction. It is not kept rigid to be transmitted downward. So this is how important it is to study the concept irrespective of the height of structure, irrespective of the material which is brittle and which is more subjected to the rupture, irrespective of the utilization of the mortar or the binding materials, irrespective of the material with increasing the ductility by insertion of any other thing, these structures are still durable from and existing from thousands of years. And whatever case studies we have taken, all these case studies are basically from the high earthquake or the severe earthquake zones. Okay, so all these structures, not only in India, around the world, all these structures are having specific study that shows that with the change in the geometrical shape, with the change in the interlocking system, irrespective of the material, we can achieve the seismic resistivity to a very high extent. So with this, I conclude my session for today, and I'm thankful. See, I have just made some slides which can show you more detail about that how the structures can be made with the beauty without collapse, without any recent technologies. Okay. So with this, I conclude my session.
So here participant can ask some of the questions whatever up till now we have discussed. You can place your question in the chat box. So there are some of the few techniques from the traditional architecture where now again we can have some research for low cost housing also.
Yeah.
So in some of the techniques we can use the combination of these techniques and all this, that can be one of the research area. So I think it was wonderful to see that traditional architecture with the seismic resistant design concept you utilize many years ago. So for this session, we are requesting the participant to type their questions in the chat box. so that we will cover some few questions and then we will stop for this session. The next session is again very interesting. So there we are talking about again one of the important technique by Dr. O.R. Jaiswal. So that there we will start at 1 p.m. again. So I think there are no questions in the chat box. Okay, so thanks Gupta sir. Now this time we got good time for explanation of all this architecture. In previous STDP there was some disturbances in there. So now with this session, I hope that participant will explore more information regarding all these traditional methods used in our ancient architecture and how they have achieved the sustainability of the construction with seismic resistant design. So thank you Gupta sir once again, and I also thank to all the participants. And now within 5 minutes we will stop for this session, and in next session we will meet again at 1 p.m. with Dr. O.R. Jaiswal sir.
Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity to share the views and the knowledge with other members, and providing this wonderful platform again. And I congratulate you for this successful conduction of the STTPs and the active participation from the various members from various parts of the country. I have seen the names also. So there are various people that are joining this session. And yes, it justifies the motive of transmitting the knowledge from one to another. And it is a wonderful effort. I'm thankful to the other team members who organized it. I am thankful to the principal of your institute, Alisa, as well as the managing body of the institute.
Yes, sir. Now we are again in two lineup with the STDP. On one is on entrepreneurship development,
Okay.
and other is on water conservation.
Okay.
So soon we will make the declaration for it, and again start the registration for that.
Sure, sir.
Yes, sir. So thank you. Now we will end this meeting officially here, and again we will meet at 1 o'clock for the next session. Thank you, sir.